So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our beautiful viewers around the globe, and welcome to another series of intimate conversations. And if you feel compelled to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would dearly love that. And send a friend request out on Facebook if you're interested in having a chat with me here as well. So that would be lovely. And today I'd love you and love all of us to welcome beautiful Heidi Timms. Welcome, Heidi.
Hello, Mandy. Nice to meet you, and so nice to be here.
Oh, yay. I know I'm looking forward to our chat and see where that all goes and what you've been up to and yeah, what your journey's been about. So I will just read your bio here to introduce you to our viewers
Mm.
for those of you who don't know you. Okay, so Heidi, multidimensional healer, spiritual business guide, sacred branding and design creator, and digital marketing mentor. Meet Heidi, a multi-dimensional healer and facilitator, spiritual business coach, sacred branding creator, and digital marketing mentor based in stunning Raglan, New Zealand. She is a mother of three and has dedicated the past 23 years to her work in the wellness world. Heidi's true passion lies in empowering women to embrace their higher calling, help them unlock their full potential in both the spiritual and business realms. Being deeply multi passionate, Heidi has created the code with following her soul mission work and adding aligned pathways, of abundance. Her unique blend of healing, coaching, and branding expertise inspires individuals to step into their higher calling through on a passage of remembrance of their divine nature.
Mm.
And that's such beautiful work. And isn't it so rewarding when you see these light bulb moments in people where you've introduced something or you've really connected them and reminded themselves of who they are. So
Mm.
beautiful work, Heidi. So
Mm.
one of the first sort of things that I ask is, were you a consciously aware child? Like, did you know what you were here doing? You were, yay. And how was that dynamically in your family? Because, oof.
Well,
Yep.
so gosh, yeah, I from my earliest memories, I remember my mediumship abilities were very much switched on as a child. I have very clear. We used to live in a lot of old farmhouses here in New Zealand, and there was a lot of action in the land,
Yep.
in the houses, and I have very vivid memories of a lot of these interactions, and a
Mm,
lot of it was very scary for me because I didn't know I didn't know what was going on,
no.
and I didn't know how to share that as well. It was really kind of interesting to sort of have these abilities that were really heightened and really switched on and being very sensitive, but then not having the language to say that this is what I was experiencing. I grew
Yeah.
up with my parents separated when I was really young, and my brother went with my dad, and I went with my mum. And so, I grew up as sort of like an only child. And so it was navigating through a very odd world where I didn't have the language to share. And so, yeah, very kind of long story cut short, I remember being in the forests as a child and communicating with the trees and with the Devic realm and the elementals, and that was just my world because I used to go there to escape the craziness of life. And so that's always been really switched on for me, and I've never recognized that that's been one of my gifts. Uh, I've only recognized that as an adult because I'm like, well,
Um,
doesn't
yeah.
everybody talk to trees? doesn't everybody in this dialogue with these amazing beings? So
Yeah.
yeah, so in a nutshell, yes, my clairs were very, very switched on as a child. Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. I was the same. I had such
Mm.
wild hauntings really going on when I was a little kid, and no one to really talk to about that at all. Mum maybe, but she was quite a frightened person of the world anyway, and it was like, no, I can't actually, that'll really freak her out. Um, and and my world was nature. I would go into the bush
Yeah.
and sit with the fantails of just about be on my shoulder, and they'd be chatting and I'd be talking to the trees and the birds and yeah, all of that.
Mm,
And that was my sanctuary, and it really taught me to bring me in here too, like this is me. This is me. Yeah, it's a scary world when you're in that sort of world. And those
mm,
old country homes. Woo, I've been in
yeah.
a few to clear them, but yeah, they
Oh,
are the
yes.
old. Mm.
Absolutely. And there was a number, I remember as a child, and one of them was in Awakuni. And
Oh my
I remember
goodness,
walking
serious.
in, and there was this, it was like a mezzanine sort of bed. And I remember walking in, and there's this guy hanging there, and that really affects your nervous system. And so I really tried to shut it down, because how do you navigate through that? So yeah, there was a process of trying to shut it down, because I didn't want these abilities. And then
Wow.
there's a process of
Yeah,
then learning that you can only shut that down for so long before you become physically ill, before
yeah, yeah,
it, like if somebody's got a bottle and they're just doing this to it, and it's just going to burst. Yeah.
yeah. I grew up in Taihape, so Awakuni was like my,
Oh, yeah,
stomping ground as such too. Um,
beautiful.
and honestly, it was. There's a lot of, and I actually went back there as an adult and lived there my husband was on the electrification for the railway.
All right.
Such a funny area and time at that point in our lives. But anyway, that's where we ended up.
Yeah.
And Aokuni, man, I remember clearing a lot of stuff there. It was ancient,
Yes.
ancient stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Heidi.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's not fun though when you're little, when you're a child and you don't really have anyone to share that with or to help because you want help.
And that's been the really interesting thing, because now, as an adult, with totally embracing all aspects of all of my abilities, and these what I really chose to come in with, I have three children who are all very gifted. And so now
Right.
I'm able, I've broken that those chains that felt like they were shackling my lineage. I've been able to break those chains, and now I'm able to support my children at their own pace with
Yes.
what they experience. And so that's beautiful, because I never had that as a child. My mum was always really open. She was a total, barefoot hippie, homeopathy, like the whole
Yeah.
thing. So she's always been very open, but she just never knew that I was had all these experiences. And so now as an adult, it's amazing to have these really open conversations with her, and then support my children, so
Yeah.
they are their guide.
Yeah. Beautiful. And so when you were high school age, that sort of age, how did it all go for you then? Because
I
that's
was
when
wild.
it's really difficult to try and navigate through.
Absolutely. What actually happened is, when we were in New Zealand, Mum and I moved to Australia when I was about 9, 10. So we went from being, in the country, experiencing the land and in the forests, and just that sense of freedom as a child that you
Mm,
have, straight into the middle of like concrete jungle suburbia. That knocked my nervous system,
yeah.
and I could not cope. And so when the house that we moved into, I was staying in this room in the back of it. It was like a granny flat that attached to the house, and I just remember being petrified, because I used to have this old woman come in and scream at me above my bed, telling me to get out. Uh,
Heidi.
and it's so full on. And that was the first time that Mum had really seen how it was just so it was she was physical in terms of like sometimes I see it through my third eye and other times it's like they're right there and she was right there. And so mum went in and she just told this woman to just leave and go away, and then she did. um, and ever since then I really tried to just shut it all down because it
Yeah.
was just too much. So then leading into trying to fit in, because that's often the case, is that we're coming in and we have these incredible abilities, but we want to fit in because in other timelines we've been killed for having these
Yeah.
incredible abilities.
Persecuted.
And so
Okay.
yeah,
Mm.
and so those have, those threads, those energetic threads come through and imprint into this.
Yeah.
So I really tried to shut it all down because I just wanted to fit into a friend group. I had no friends coming over here, and so over there, and tried to shut it all down. So that was a process of trying to fit in, suppress my abilities. I went into substance abuse into my teens because that was trying to just numb it all out again. And then uh, was a total wild card. And then leading into sort of my early 20s, I sort of had kind of done everything and was still alive. and then
Ah, good.
and then went in and uh, I've always known my path ever since I was a child, but I didn't want it to be my path because it was people weren't ready for it then, and that's so the beautiful thing about it is that people are so ready for it now. They're so ready
Mm.
for it, and we've been through all of that and walked all of those very like treacherous, muddy paths to get to where we are. Been through all the lessons and all the journeys and taken it all and walked through it. We haven't gone around it. We've walked straight through it,
Yeah.
and now we're here as
Yeah.
these like pillars of light to shine it out to others so that they ignite their light and then they ignite their light, and it just has that beautiful ripple effect. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
yes. So now I'm like, let's go.
It's the same story. Honestly, that's exactly how it was for me as a teenager and really wanting to fit in. So I never told anybody, but they did know. They all now, old friends from back there. And
Mm,
they said, "Oh my God, this is just exactly who you are, isn't it, Mandy? Like we knew that." And I'm like, "How did you know that? I never said anything." But they
mm,
did. They knew me. So that was interesting because I was freaking out. I was so scared of what was happening in my room every night when I went to bed,
oh, right.
and trying to pretend like everything was normal and through the day at school and then into high school. I did
Mm,
the same thing. I just wanted to numb it all. I
yeah.
didn't not want my journey. I was just annoyed I had to wait until and go through certain stuff before I was actually at that point. And also that part of like trying to get a job, because that's what was expected. And yet it's not going to be something I knew was never going to be what I was going to be doing.
Mm,
So you're just playing along for a little while, ho humming until you actually can create it into being and into your life. But
mm.
I too got into my early 20s and thought, God, I'm still alive. How did that happen? Because I was a wild card too. Oh my goodness. Not funny. It's not. And I think now, my daughter, my oldest one particularly, she was traipsing along the same sort of path. And I'm thinking, oh my
Oh
goodness, this is
gosh.
karma. This is what I put my poor mum through.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, it's not
yeah.
funny, is it?
No,
But
no, exactly. But she
what do
was
you
like,
do?
yeah, exactly.
What do you do? I like you didn't have anyone around to actually help me through that. And it took years actually to be able to find my way, and yeah, accepting it and understanding it more, really, understanding, you know,
Mm,
like I started doing seance stuff at 13,
yeah,
12, 13 to try and find out what was going on. That I wouldn't advise anyone to do that. That was like,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I was curious. I really wanted to know and understand more and more of it. But it was, how do you do that? And whatever was going on, there was some innate trust though that I had of what else was around me, which I had no idea what that was. which I'd say was guides and helpers around at that point in time and through my life, of course,
Mm.
but you're not sure. You're just winging it, like
Yeah,
actual.
absolutely. That's exactly it, isn't it? You're winging it,
Yeah,
absolutely winging it, trying to make sense of it all, and you just you know that there's more than just us, just y- and
yeah.
and often there's like something that happens that will you'll follow an impulse, and there'll be something that then sheds another layer, takes another layer off of your
Yes,
remembrance process, and
yes.
you're like, okay, that feels really good, and that feels really true, and that feels really right for me. And then you take that next best feeling, and then there's something else, another layer comes off.
Mm,
That's
mm,
and then yeah, learning to trust is
yes. And
the
and
biggest
and
journey.
totally that bashing your head against brick wall, like luckily I think so much thank Louise Hay because she was the lady that really introduced me into the understanding of how this body works because that's my work. I knew that was always the way it was. I understood it and I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
It was all coming in very young and I still didn't get why that was happening until later on. She started putting some of the puzzle together for me. And then I just wanted to know more, more, more. So it was more books because there wasn't internet like this then for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So it was all of that. It was just gathering the information from wherever you could gather it and putting the puzzle bits together. It was really like that.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's been like now, like you say, everyone's wanting this now. Everyone's waking up, coming, and their connection to self is deepening, and they're really getting to know who they are. And it's such a joy to have that to be, like you say, of service and,
Mm.
and in service to those who are willing to know more. And I just love that. Whereas in my early years, man, it was bashing head against brick wall, and
Yeah.
everyone was interested. They were freaked out by it, but still there was something that drew them in as well. It was like that thing, that just
Yeah.
no, there's something more in this. I want to know more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but man,
And interesting you were saying about Louise Hay. My mum had given me You Can Heal Your Life at
yeah.
15, and I still have that same book at 15, and it's
Mhm.
so beautiful. And absolutely, that was a really, now I'm like, that's such a, it's like the foundation kind of
Yes.
a lot of like, oh, okay, that emotion is, I mean, for me, I had issues with my knees for years and years and years and
Yeah.
years through a skiing accident. And then when I was pregnant with my third child, I fell over and it twisted my knee. And so it had all these, and it was all about moving forward, all about
Yeah.
moving forward. And so it just interesting, like my, lower back plays up. I'm like, okay, that's connected to what money stories are coming up for me right now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
and
so good, eh?
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you were mentioning about the puzzle pieces, and that's such a beautiful analogy. I use that all the time as well. It's like we're trying to create this, we're trying to create this picture from all these puzzle pieces. We're trying to put a piece of the puzzle together and the piece of the puzzle together, and that connects to that bit there, and that connects to that bit there. But we have got no actual picture to work off because everybody's picture is different.
It is. It so is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's
And that
similarities, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the interesting bit is, really. I think that's exciting because we are all so different. And, we might have similar story, but you did yours differently to mine, even though it might be similar. There's a difference in it. We've learned something different. We have a different way of seeing things in many ways, but
Mm.
it's exciting to find out. And like we were just talking before, hearing each other's story,
Mm.
that the interesting facts around that. And those, I share a lot about my story because that's where my experience was, which taught me how to navigate through things where I can then relay to somebody else and say, well, this is how I got through that because I did experience that as well, or similar to that. So it's through that. And yeah, it's a very exciting time at this present time.
And that's it, isn't it? Uh, can only ever teach from what you've been through,
Yes.
and that's it. That's it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Mm.
And I always said to Spirit right from day one, I said, if I'm doing this, I don't want to read a book and say that's how it is. I need to experience. And well, I'd say be careful what you wish for. It's good experiencing. Oh my God, yeah.
Yep.
Some of this stuff. And it's just incredible. And I think how blessed I was to actually grow up in the time that I did grow up in comparison to now, and how almost gentle it was and subtle and gentle way of being brought into this, whereas now people are getting it, wake up. It's like,
Oh, yes.
you
Uh,
know, ooh.
yeah,
So that's another different thing going on altogether at now.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like there's no more time. It's you wake up now. It's time
Mm.
to. Mm,
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's
yeah,
so interesting because there was, a little bit of an ego death that I had to kind of go through because I've experienced this my entire life, and I
yeah,
have been in the wellness space for a really long time. And then so for me it's been this I mean it's parts of it I guess has been gentle, but a lot of it has been very challenging.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you're having these people that are kind of like bang, like, something activates within them, and it's
yeah,
fast, and it's like all the rose tinted glasses are ripped off, and they're just
yeah,
like, and so there was this like little bit of I'm like, well, I had to go through all of this. I had to experience all of
yeah,
this. you
yeah.
know? And I'm like, but you just it just and I'm like, oh. So that was
I
a
get it. Mm,
yeah, really
mm,
interesting process. And I'm like, okay, obviously, this is what we contracted in when we came in, and this is my journey, and that's that person's journey, and it's all coming to into we're coming into higher and higher octaves. And so that's, yeah, it's really beautiful, but that was just a funny process that I had to come
yeah,
through a few years ago.
yeah.
Now I'm
But
like, awesome.
I know, and it is about the journey though. That's where, because it's sort of almost like there was a point here before. Oh, even now I could probably say that where everyone's in this rush. You
Yes.
know, I need to get enlightened. I need to have it before this world just, does whatever it's going to do. I've got to hurry up. And there isn't sort of this almost like an urgency to it. I can see that. I can feel that.
Mm,
And we all know that there's something bigger coming. There's some big thing that's going to maybe happen. And, everyone talks about these pole shifts and that we're all going to flip and it's going to be this huge thing. But I don't feel that. I honestly don't feel that. I feel we are doing, and this
yes.
is what the big change is because this is going to now get quicker, become faster, and what we want and manifest in and creating into the intention, the heart is
Mm,
going to start really moving it very quickly now. And that's what I think is the thing that's
mm,
happening, you know.
absolutely.
I don't
We're going
think
to
it's
shift.
disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And we're going to be able to shift things a lot faster as well.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
healing journey doesn't take as long now.
No, it doesn't.
It
It
really doesn't. It
doesn't.
doesn't take 10 years. It can happen really quickly.
Mm,
And probably about, so I think maybe 3-ish years ago, I was working with this beautiful, gosh, she is a medicine woman over in Canada. And we were, I was in sort of this immersion with her, and she was just we connected through working with the light grid. And so we were doing these these meditations, and then I wanted to work deeper with her, and then she was offering this beautiful immersion. So I it was like a shamanic, really working with shamanic medicine. And a lots of, at that point, lots of my, because she would take us really deep,
hmm.
lots of my memories started switching on really, really quickly. Like I had
Yeah.
done so much work to that point, and then all of these memories just started flooding back and flooding back. And we were working with we were doing this one journey where I had this profound memory of, memory lifetime,
Mm,
working with these crafts and working on in Andromeda. And this my guide, he was like he is like this sort of mentor superior, but we working with the consciousness of these crafts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all telepathic. It's not human language where you
No.
put a word there and then you put another word there and put another word there behind it to make a sentence. It's completely interconnected with these crafts and these very high dimensional beings. And I just every part of my being just knew that this is like a memory that's coming in.
Mm.
And so I don't have any fear around this split that's kind of happening between this AI and all of these things, because yes, there is that dark timeline, but there is the light timeline. And so that one is, to me, is working with these like incredible layers of consciousness. So
Mm.
that's like so much fun and something I really haven't shared much about. But for me, there's just no fear around it whatsoever with this split.
No,
Mm,
me either. None at all. And I mean, it's so positive. It's just so positive.
mm,
And there is, there was, I remember, coming into the center, it's like, I run the center every month, and it's
mm,
in there. I just do an energy update on where we're up to and what might be happening in the bodies, blah, blah, blah. And in January oh no, we started in the February, that's right, in the February, there was really this urgency that I had in it. And I said to them, honestly, I'm standing here, I just feel like I want to shake you all. This
yeah.
is how it feels today.
Mm,
That there's this urgency on which world are you choosing to be in?
mm,
Which one? Because this is now going to start moving. There's more
yeah,
movement now, and it's going to be quick, and you can't have one foot in each world anymore. So, it's that part of you that's maybe still linking into all of this, and a lot of that's through the battle and wanting to change all that stuff that's in there, in this darker timeline. And it's like, well, that's gonna do its thing. Just let it do its thing. And you pay attention to this one here if that's where you wish to be.
yeah.
So it was like that. And there's still for me this I can see where there's still those that are reluctant to give
Mm,
up, to pull the plug, to just really release the old.
mm,
But more and more the choices that we have in that is really showing up,
mm,
to the point where there's, a lot of people getting sick now, and it's through choices that's, lifelong choices too.
yep,
And yes, if they're willing and they're open to themselves healing self,
mm,
then beautiful. But if that's not the case, there's a point in there, I feel now, for myself included, is that I have a choice now as to how involved I wish to be
yes,
in any situation at all. How involved do I wish to be in that? And part of me has this feeling of almost guilt, but not. I'm even that is just moving itself and just shimmering away because what's the point? There's no
yeah,
point to that.
yes.
There's choice in this. We've all had choice, and that's sort of what I see now
Mm,
is assisting those through those choices, I feel, because they're pushing on people at the moment.
absolutely.
Yeah, and the
And
big
that's interesting.
choices.
It ties into that when we are on this journey, we will naturally release some relationships and connections, and uh, they just fall away,
They do.
and that can
Mm,
be at the beginning when that happens, because you're changing, you're growing, you're evolving, and they're still staying the same. And that was quite challenging for me at first, because I've come from a very ingrained people pleasing program. And so,
yeah,
and that
yep, get that.
yeah. And so learning to release different friendships
Mm,
along that way that are no longer aligned, like beautiful people, but just still no longer aligned with where I'm naturally going. It's not
yeah,
even like I'm going over there. It's like this is just completely natural and organic. So that's been a real challenge. And even certain things that might pop up now, it's we all have a choice. We all
yeah,
can choose to go, how is that feeling in my body? How's my body responding to this? Because your body is the tuning fork, and it will
absolutely.
tell you. And if my body's going no, then listen to it.
Exactly. And that's the point where I got to in myself, is that I actually don't choose, I don't choose that feeling anymore.
Mm.
Whatever that feeling might be that's sitting in my body that I'm not liking, it's
Yeah.
not feeling, really all that flash, then
Mm.
I have a choice now as to whether I wish to feel that anymore. And that there was where, for me, because it's all about the body, for me as well, it's, we know this. And so, yeah, it's that choice. I choose now what I wish to feel.
Yeah.
And I'll say to everybody too that there isn't a choice when you're really embedded in all the old cellular program and the memory. That's
Mm.
there isn't a choice. You're just running it. It's not that you choose that, and it's not even that you have a choice not to choose it, because it's
Mm.
just going to run. It just takes over. It's controlling.
Mm.
And until you get that stuff sorted out and you do enough of your cellular work, releasing that memory and those connections too, then yeah, you start being able to actually, you've got the awareness of when you're running it, you now just have the choice of whether you wish to or not.
Oh, I love that.
Mm,
Absolutely. um, Ever since I was a child, and I never knew that this was an intentional process that I went through. But if something was, I had to make a decision about something, I would project myself into that situation, and my body would either contract
yes,
or expand. And that was, I would like, and that would be how I, because I can see, and so I have all the visuals, and
yes,
so I can do that really easily, and anybody can do it really easily. But
totally,
it's
yeah.
so powerful. It's such a simple, powerful tool because your body will literally tell you in that moment if
Yeah,
it's a yes or if it's a no.
absolutely.
Don't
It will.
need to think it. Your body just tells you.
Yeah. And
Mm.
that's where our intelligence is. It's all in the body. It's the emotions are in our intelligence, the feeling. It's a ah it just I love it. I actually really do. I love that we've got it this time
Yes.
and we're
Yes.
actually using what we know and
Mm.
putting it into play, and looking at, now we're seeing the actual evidence of it more and more and more, of how this works, how our body works, how we work, and energy, vibration, frequency, whatever we want to label it all, how it
Mm.
all works. And that for me, like seeing the ahas and getting those moments with, like we were saying at the beginning there, seeing those light bulb moments that come on when you've assisted somebody to connect that dot and to actually feel the feel.
Mm.
It's amazing, and there's so much more though. This is the thing. So our journey, I feel we've only just started this new life.
Yeah.
We're only just starting. So there's a whole new experience to bring in.
Mm.
And this is the other thing I just will bring in here at this moment too, is how many are bringing in the old into what we're up to now. This is the new Lemuria rising, there's I get it. I get that we have to go into the past sometimes to bring in that new now, and understand it a bit more. But this is actually new. I feel like I want to just say to everybody, leave all that back there. It's all
Right.
part of our journey. We've been there, yes, but actually be present in this now, not with the old still bringing in what you might experience it to be. See
Mm.
it as a new experience that you're learning to
Mm.
see with new eyes, really,
Mm.
and feel what that feels like,
Mm.
because the stories are still coming in. That's what I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, we do that. I mean, we try and fit it to something that we know, don't
Mm.
we, to understand it.
Mm.
But this is about, I feel, it's all new. It's not the
Yeah.
old coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it plays a definitely a role. It has an absolute role in
Yeah.
what it's here for. Um, and when I was, oh gosh, this is going back probably, let me just try to think, maybe about 20 years. I'm just, yep, something like that.
Mhm.
When I was working at so I'm trained in somatic therapies, massage therapy, beauty therapy, and Reiki, and that was sort of where I kind of started dipping my human into
Yes.
working. And I was working on a client, and she was clairvoyant, and so she basically just told me all of this information around my journey, my other, because for me, I don't believe in past, present, future. For me, it's all coexists all at
Yeah.
once. And so she was telling me about my journey in Lemuria and Atlantis. And so for me, that was like a trigger, and it was a layer, and it
Yeah.
triggered and like I'll get like my crown will open up, and I'll get like
Yeah.
uh, complete, like,
Remembrance.
yep, absolutely, that was a
Yeah.
trigger. And so
Yeah.
that was like a layer, and I'm like, okay, cool, that feels real, that's absolutely alive in my body right now. And then I'll, next time something kind of happens in my awareness that's linked into Atlantis or linked into Moria, then I will follow that link, and so all of those sort of pieces, I really do feel that they help us to inner stand ourselves
They do.
now in
Mm,
this time space that we're in.
mm.
And it's also helped me understand a lot of my relationships as well, because I have a beautiful soul sister who's up in Auckland, and we have lived some profound lifetimes together. And so it's really helped me understand our connection here now in this physical plane, and also with other people around me and my relationships and the karmic relationships, and how that all kind of ties into this. So,
Yeah.
but it's still now.
It is still now. That's what I mean. Those
Yeah.
parts are relevant, definitely. A reminder of who we have been, who we are in this now moment too. But
Mm,
just yeah, it's a lot of story I'm hearing still coming in and
mm,
describing this now moment, which is the old story back from back there somewhere or in that time, I mean.
mm. Yeah.
It's a trippy thing to get your head around no past, present, future, eh? It's just
But
all
as
in
soon as you
the
do,
very now moment. Yeah,
everything changes. It's
everything.
time is an illusion,
It
heavy
is.
illusion.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
totally.
going to stop celebrating my birthdays, because for me, that's a total program. It's a program.
Yeah, I
Um,
get it.
yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, that's a whole other rabbit hole there.
Yeah, like the old Christmas and things and God, all that stuff. It is. It's crazy, eh? Where we've been and what we've been up to. It's
Yeah.
like wow.
Yeah.
And once I remember the moment, and I was in around my 30s, where the blindfold got taken off.
Yeah.
Oh man, and it was absolutely no way I could put that back on. It
Yeah.
just was wild. It was like, wow, looking from outside a window into,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was that. And it was, wow, I get this now. I really get this.
Yeah.
But then there was still way more to understand in that as well, of course. But that was initially, wow.
Yeah, and that's there can be a lot of grief and anger that comes
Mm,
up in
mm,
that, because everything that we believed about our world and how it works, the
yeah.
content and all of that, it's like somebody just goes shoo and takes it all
Yeah.
off. And it's like this process of like grieving and anger. And I mean, I absolutely, when we were in Nelson and I was having my second child, looked up, and we were like questioning what is going on in the sky here. And so for me, that was 12 years ago. And so we just started questioning what is going on, with all these things and all these trails in the sky. And anyway, that was for me, that
Mhm.
next year was a year of like deep anger,
Yeah.
because I was like,
How could they?
how
Yeah.
everything I believed is now false. And now I'm bringing up these children in a world that is not what I believed it was.
Mm.
And how do I do that?
Yeah.
Past that now, but that was a journey.
Yeah, for sure. It is a journey. And how do you not allow that to affect?
Oh, yeah, that's a great,
Because
yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's seems to be everywhere. It seems to be going on all the time and all those things. And
Mm.
that's what I find people find the most difficult.
Yes.
But it's the same as if you look back on your life and you see where you were 10 years ago, that's not there today. And that world is your old world. It's the
Yeah,
same thing. You've moved yourself away from, or,
definitely.
integrated whatever you needed to. So it's that same thing. But
Mm.
yeah, it's difficult. I get the difficulty in one's not being able to let that go because somebody has to do something about it. No, you don't,
Yeah.
and it's if we, just talking at the center on Sunday, and I was saying about how, there's so many in the battle of wanting to get rid of all of this stuff. Get
Yeah.
rid of all of that. It can't be right. It's not right. And I want it to go. And we need to fight and we need to, be fully out there saying to everyone and letting everyone know this is what's happening and all of that, which is, awakening awareness is a good thing, absolutely. But then when you look at all the stuff that we've gone through and then turned around in those experiences and gone, oh my God, that was really shitty. But
Mm.
look how much I learned from that. Oh my goodness, I wouldn't be here today in this awareness if I hadn't gone through that.
Absolutely.
This is what that world's about.
Mm.
Everyone needs to have that still. Whoever needs it and requires it and is in it,
Yeah.
require it.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
we can't shift that. We haven't got the right to say you don't need this anymore and we're going to shift it all and change it because I think it's wrong.
Yes.
That's just not how it is. And when you move yourself more into that space, you come back into that awareness of that peace within, that actually it is all okay. And
Mm.
I'm okay right now in this moment right now.
Mm.
There's nothing I need to do but
Mm.
be me
Yeah.
and let that be.
Yeah.
Mm,
Absolutely. Wholeheartedly agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting, but it is a difficult thing. I know I've been, over those last 4 or 5 years in and out of, oh my God, because
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yep.
it just did take us there. I
Yeah.
don't I don't think there was anyone who was sitting in a space of, oh no, it's all okay, sweet
Yeah.
as.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody was there. We were all rattled and we all found our way through that. And what was rattling us was old threads that we had to
Yeah.
just go in and look at and deal with the emotion around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing, the beauty that's come out of that is it's just woken a lot of people up.
Oh my
Like
God, it's
hard and fast.
amazing. Yeah, it's
Yep.
amazing. I love it.
Yep. Yep.
I know it's hard for people to hear me say that, and I get very excited about where we're up to when I know sometimes I'm saying it to people who have got these lots of shitty things going on in their life, maybe, and oh, how do you see it like that? Because that's not where I'm at. But
Mm.
if we can shift perspective sometimes and see, like I say to everyone, if you're sitting out here, if you're sitting back and you're observing something, you're on the right track. If you're an
Mm.
observer, you're
Yes.
aware of being the observer. Oh my God, that's a huge thing. Good on you. And
Even on
just
ourselves.
exactly for that, exactly that. And that's what I mean. It's like the awareness of what I'm up to in this day
Yeah.
today, how I'm feeling, what I'm doing. And that there is the hugest. And if you're there, if you're doing that, then you're on the right track.
Yeah.
No,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's that simple, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you're just aware of your choices,
Mm.
what you're wanting to do with that.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
But I know I was aware of things that I was doing for a while too, and habits that I had, and oh my God. And I was like, I wasn't ready to shift it, wasn't ready to move any of that, but I was aware of them. But I
Mm.
ignored the aware for a while until I was up to doing something.
Yeah. And that sort of kind of comes into with following our true path, you know,
Yes.
and there's this like this niggle, there's this awareness of what
Mm,
that is, and this, this higher calling that we have here, and that sometimes we're just our human is not necessarily ready for it,
yeah.
or everything hasn't kind of lined up for us to allow
Mm,
us to surrender into our true path.
that's right.
We
Yeah.
haven't had the courage to follow through with it,
Mm.
for whatever reason, or whether
Yeah.
it's family, or whether it's our belief systems, or whether it's fear coming up, fear of failure, fear of success, all the stories,
Yeah.
all the
For sure.
stories. And that's a huge part of it. And I feel like that has been another one of the blessings of what that we've experienced, is that a lot more people have released that old paradigm of what they were doing and going, well, that actually truly does not fulfill me.
Mm.
And what does? And
Yes.
what next? And
Mm.
that has, yeah, I mean, countless people that you connect with that have had that same experience. I've stepped further into my path because of this experience that we have
Yeah.
collectively have.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And now it's nearly, well, for me, there's been layers of shedding of, actually stepping forward
Mm-hmm.
and being seen.
Yeah.
And the, my team has been like, you don't have a choice here. There's no choice. You're going.
Yes. Yes. I know that is, and there is this, like, I mean, we've always been the yes girls, really, when it comes to spirit and moving our spirit into where we know it's going to be the best thing. We might have had a little bit of a balk to start with, but then we were always more than willing, I felt anyway.
Yes.
Um, and so now it's like this excitement because yes, we can. We've got, because I like movement. We all
Yeah.
like movement. We don't like stagnation. So
Um,
there was a time there in all of that where it was like being stagnant. We were in lockdown and we had been locked down. We were being held in a sense, but it was necessary. And
yes.
that there, as soon as we got the green light, we were like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are now just running. We're really moving quickly. And I hear people put timelines on, oh, in 2050, that's when everything's going to really change. I actually, I
Mm,
can't say that anyone can say when and
agree.
how long this is going to be, because in this proud now moment, it's already here. We're already doing it, and it's just a matter of allowing it to show up more.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really awesome.
Accelerating
Yeah.
that process, isn't it?
Mm.
And it really does. For me, I was never really in online. I had a bricks and mortar, and I have a background in also organic skincare formulation as well. And
Yeah.
so I was very much like offline. Yes, I had an e-commerce store and I had all these pieces. And then what happened was I just kept on getting the push to put myself out there.
Yeah.
And it was so scary. It was like nearly like stepping out of this spiritual closet, for me,
Yeah.
because it felt nobody around me was doing it.
Mhm.
Nobody around me was putting themselves out there, uh, and like the unfolding of social media and everything that sort of is the
Yes.
power of social media and the power of connecting with people like yourself, and
Yeah.
the power of like connecting with phenomenal people on the other side of the earth,
Yes.
and that has been such a beautiful gift that we've been able to receive from that journey,
Yeah.
is to
For
be able
sure.
to connect with people who speak our language, and we
Mm.
don't have to filter ourselves, and there's no judgments. It's just pure like speaking your truth from your
Yeah.
heart and letting it just come out, and whoever resonates with you and your word and your story and your light, it is like that's because it's in them, and
Yes.
that just ripples out, and it just ripples out, and it ripples out, and it ripples out, and that's the power. And gosh, it's scary. It's scary being seen.
Yeah, it is.
Somebody told me I'd be doing things like this a couple of years ago, I would have been like, no, nope.
It is a weird thing though, eh?
Yeah.
And yet it's so enjoyable too, of
Yes.
course,
Oh,
all of that. But it is that thing. And I know through that era, the 4-year era, there was this. everyone, it was almost like all of us had to come back out and go, okay, who are you now?
Yes.
And
Oh,
what is it you wish to actually step into now? Like there was a lot that shedded through that time. We shedded a lot. And so with that, it was this, for me anyway, personally, and I know there were a lot of the really old pioneers like myself who were going, oh my God, have I actually got the energy to do this anymore?
yeah.
It was like we had to now come back out and recreate. It was almost like starting again.
Yeah.
And that was just, that did my head in. It was like, oh God, here we go. We've got to just redo all this again. And it was quite a process to get myself through to the point where I was feeling energetically alive again and willing. And yeah,
Mm.
it was quite big for many of us in that respect. But we're
When,
all on fire now, and there's no,
yeah.
you know, no
Oh,
stopping. But
yeah.
so many people's purposes changed, eh? Like
Oh
that, it was
gosh,
it
phenomenal.
just shifted so much stuff. It's great.
Absolutely. When into well, we wanted to pull our children out of school to go and world school them, and we were in they were in a little country school down in Dunedin, and so I
Yeah,
had my clinic, and attached to our house we had this beautiful manufacturing studio, and we just wanted to travel and
yeah,
to show them the world, and then that all happened, but we had been working for 4 years prior to just to get ready to
mm,
go. And in the middle of 2020, it was like this fork in the road for us. Do we go and follow what we were intending to do and what we were
yeah,
building, and to take our we had at that point in 2019 we'd already put our children out of school, um, and we just placed so much trust in the next, in the fact that we just knew it was all
yeah.
sort of gobbledygook. And we went overseas, and we're traveling during all that crazy time when everybody was
Good
going
on
back. We were
you.
like
Yeah.
going to Portugal and going to these amazing places and going to Turkey and these amazing places. And so our children weren't in that. They weren't in that.
Awesome. That's really great, Heidi.
And so we
Yeah,
homeschooled for 4 years. Well, we unschool. We very much on the unschooling side of things. And so that was really interesting to kind of observe the world from through that lens. Um,
yeah,
it was
beautiful.
really powerful. And so for me, I was like, well, I didn't have the income of working client to client and working, hands on
Yeah,
with clients, selling, my skincare, and had distributors over New Zealand and Australia. And so I just knew that there had to be a easier way for me to stop trading my time for money. So I started an online business. And so for me, that has been really beautiful, because that was sort of that bridge. It was that bridge
yeah,
to start in the online space, because I really wasn't,
yeah.
and to then start allowing myself to be seen more, and to
Mm,
connecting with deeper 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 um, conversations, and creating beautiful friendships and relationships. And that's been absolutely one of the gifts, because it's given me permission to be more of myself in that,
yes,
you know
exactly, eh? Yeah,
because we do
yeah.
stifle our light,
Yeah,
we
we
really
do.
do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
um even now I catch myself doing it in certain conversations or situations, and then I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah, me too, after all these years. And
Yes.
it's a weird thing. It is a weird thing. But no, it's our time now, for sure.
Yeah,
It's so our time.
yeah, and acknowledging our gifts, because that's what is lighting up for so many people, is their gifts are switching on, that
Yeah,
they contracted in to come in and have
yeah,
these, and
yeah,
they're like switching on.
yeah.
And sometimes people just don't quite know what to do with them and
Mm,
how to navigate through that. And I feel like
yeah,
that's what part of our role is to help them, just guide, just guiding.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
Mm, mm.
So Heidi, how do people find you?
So My website is Heidi Timms, HEIDITIMMS.com. And so that's all my, most of my offerings on the social media world. It's Heidi Timms Wellness on Instagram and on in Facebook as well. So yeah, I'm predominantly on Facebook because I really hold two groups over there
Yeah.
for two aspects of my work, and yeah, it's
Mm,
lots of fun.
it is cool. Oh, that's so lovely. And it's so, so good that you did put yourself out there more, you know, open
Yeah.
yourself up to the, because I was a lot of my stuff was in person. And
Yes.
then it was, okay, we've got to go online. And now it's like learning this online thing
A whole
and
other
getting out
language.
there that way. Yeah, it's like, wow, a whole new thing. But, we're getting there and it's working out. And it's such a joy to be able to connect with these amazing ones, like you say, around the globe. Oh my
Mm,
gosh, we wouldn't be able to do that if we didn't have this. It's
exactly.
such a great thing. I love it. I actually love it. I know people don't, but I do. I love what it can do for us and, you know, help us connect, misconnect.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. It's another one of the gifts that have come out.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. It's so
Mm,
cool.
mm.
Oh, well, it's been lovely, Heidi.
Thank you. So lovely to connect with you, Mandy, and yeah, hear more of your story as well.
Yeah,
It's really powerful to hear these stories and to know that there's a lot of similarities, but we're all different, and how that just sometimes like makes you feel like you because it can be a lonely path, it
yeah,
can be a
totally.
lonely path,
Yeah,
and it's so
yeah,
beautiful to not feel so um feel knowing that there is others out there who have had these very colorful lives
yes,
like that are just
yeah,
around lighting
yeah.
up the world.
Yeah, it is, so thank you for that. It's lovely. And yeah, just, I always want to say keep doing what you're doing, but of course you will. And, thank you so much for all you do and all the change you've made in this beautiful world that we live in too. So
Yes,
yeah, thank you so
exactly.
much.
Thank you, Mandy.
Mm,
See ya.
much love.
Thank you.